Welcome to New Mexico Restaurants Now, where we get you the inside scoop on the food scene across New Mexico. This episode is sponsored by The Hand Solution, providing high-quality hand sanitizer at a competitive price. Stay tuned to the end to hear about their special offer. I'm Carol White, CEO of the New Mexico Restaurant Association, and our guest today is Tom Willis with 66 Diner. Authentic 50s food and fun in the heart of Albuquerque on historic Route 66. 66 Diner is preserving the 50s dining experience with authentic food and historic ambiance. Welcome, Tom. It's so good to have you here.
Well, thank you. It's glad to be here.
So Tom and I have known each other for way too many years to count. And back then, what were you doing?
Cafe Oceana.
Cafe Oceana, that's right. So it's been quite a few years. How did you get, I don't know this about you. How did you get started in restaurants?
You know, that's how I got through college. I lived in Austin at the time, was going to the University of Texas, and I worked at Steak and Ale restaurant in Austin. Started in the dish pit, the old story, and you go through every position in the place. You're the cook, and then you're the you're the server and the bartender and ultimately the assistant manager.
That's how it always goes. And you're like, wait, I used to make way more money doing all those other jobs. Why am I doing this, right?
I did.
Yeah.
And then one day when I was working the lunch shift at Steak and Ale, I got approached by a headhunter who was hiring for Pelicans restaurants, which is kind of a owner-operator type concept at the time. And that's what got me to Albuquerque.
Interesting. So did you open the first Pelicans restaurant?
I opened the first Pelicans restaurant at Montgomery and Eubank, twice actually. It burned down.
Oh, my goodness. I don't even remember that.
Well, you're much too young. That's
no,
why.
I'm not.
That was in 1996. 96? No, 76.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was 76, wasn't it?
It was 76.
Yeah. So, and then you've had a lot of history with restaurants. I remember when you had the restaurant out on the Indian reservation. What was that called?
That was called the Prairie Star.
Prairie Star. That was fabulous. That was a wonderful restaurant. And Cafe Oceana was wonderful and all of those. But you've moved on, and let's talk about your latest concept.
Well, the latest concept for me is almost 35 years old now. It's the 66 Diner. It's directly across the street from where Cafe Oceana used to be.
That's right.
We would look over there at this former gas station, and it was at the time Atlas Transmissions, and it had a little Crosby station wagon sitting up on top of 4 55-gallon drums. All of it was painted white, and that was like their sign.
I should remember that too, but I don't.
Again, probably not your part of town. But we looked at that, and it was back in the 80s when diners were making somewhat of a resurgence, and we kept saying, that building sure does look like a diner. Should be a diner. Maybe we should make it a diner, because somebody else is gonna if we don't. So we managed to purchase the building, and it sat there for about a year while we opened the Prairie Star. So that was 86, we opened the Prairie Star, and 87, we opened the 66 Diner.
You were blowing and going back then. And you have other concepts still, correct?
I have the Cold Stone Creameries in Albuquerque, but that's a totally different animal, but they're open.
Yes. So we're in the middle of COVID right now, and we're pretending that restaurants are open in New Mexico, but they're really not. But 66 Diner has been around for 30 years, so we have lots to talk about. Tell me about your menu. What are some of your customers' favorites, and then what is your favorite on your menu?
Well, first and foremost, you have to understand that we're trying to be authentic to the 50s. So we serve comfort food, but we serve quality comfort food. For example, our burgers are fresh Angus Chuck and never frozen, and we cook those to order for you. That of course is probably our most popular item, or we sell the most of them. But we have deluxe dinners that include chicken fried steak, chicken fried chicken, liver and onions, which I don't eat, but a lot of people do.
And I love.
And then we have a lot of original items that we've created. Chicken Ranchero is one of those. We have the chicken fried chicken, and it's topped with cheddar cheese and green chili. And it's all melted. It's all really good. That's one of my favorites. The trademark item we created is a combination breakfast, lunch, dinner item, whatever you want. It's called the Route 66 Pileup. And that's a mound of pan-fried potatoes, chopped bacon, chopped green chili, cheddar cheese, topped with 2 eggs cooked to order, and red or green chili sauce, served with a side of tortilla. When I say a mound, it's a plateful.
Oh, it sounds delicious. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. And so I want to kind of let folks know, in case they're coming from somewhere besides New Mexico, that even our diner style. I mean, everybody in New Mexico has figured out how to get green chili on their menu. I used to have Japanese restaurants, and we had a green chili sushi on our menu. So it is that thing that kind of holds New Mexico together, is our red and green chili. So obviously you figured out how to use it in a diner. So
it's it's a New Mexico staple, and people expect it, and we try to be appealing to the locals, and obviously we have a huge tourist following as well, but we can't count on that always. And we know that the locals love their green chili, and so do we.
That's right. Yeah. Well, if you're like me, you can't get through a meal without it, really. So I want to talk a little bit about the location, because you can be driving on I-25 and just get off and almost be at your restaurant. So what exit is it that I take to get off of I-25 to get to your restaurant?
The easy way or the hard way?
Oh, that's right. No, and I do know why he's saying that, because there's some traffic things if you take Central. But tell us, what's the easy way?
Okay, well, we're actually on Central Avenue and Sycamore Street. But the easiest way to get to us is to take the Martin Luther King exit off of I-25, go east on Martin Luther King, and turn south on Sycamore. It's actually 4 blocks off of the interstate, and you'll end up right there in our parking lot on the left.
I never knew that. This is a secret for only you on the podcast. I always end up taking the very long way to get there, which it feels like it's going to be the short way, but they've got the traffic blocked off for a left-hand turn. So just do what he said.
Well, and everybody says, oh, so since art came in, you can't turn left there. And I'm going, no, you could never turn left.
Right.
For us, you could turn at other places, but you can't even do that now. So if you get on Central, you'll drive by us on the left and wave as you go by.
Yeah, exactly. You'll never get there from there.
and you go up to University and make a U-turn to get back to us. So you can get there that way.
No, I know. That's the only way I've ever tried. So now that I know the secret, I'm doing that from now on. But it's well worth it. I've got to say, and especially when my kids were around, it was just a fun place to go and have a fabulous malt. Tell us about your malts. Tell us about your drinks.
Well, that's probably the one item we sell the most of is our milkshakes and malts. And again, my first job in the industry was as a soda jerk at Beck's Rosedale Pharmacy in Austin, Texas. And so we've carried that tradition through, and our malts are made the old-fashioned way. They're made with real ice cream with whole milk. We spin them on those blenders in a tin cup, and we pour into the malt glass and serve it with the tin cup on the side. So you're really getting almost twice of a malter milkshake that you would in most places, and it's delicious. Our milkshakes and malts have been chosen as the best of Albuquerque ever since Albuquerque the Magazine has been polling.
Mm-hmm. That's a long time too. Not quite as long as we've been around, but it's a long time.
That's true. And also this in 2020 now, we were chosen best for our milkshakes and also as the best diner in town. So
absolutely,
we agree with all that.
Yeah, I'll go with that too. So tell me a little bit about the history of, maybe you can go back to kind of Route 66 and why it made sense for you to open up on Route 66.
Well, again, it wasn't a conscious decision other than that happened to be where we were.
and looking at the gas station across the street, right?
Correct. And that is Central Avenue used to be Route 66 traveling through New Mexico. And it was, it still is recognized as that, although the Route 66 designation has been decommissioned. But a lot of people still travel Route 66 and they stop in and visit us. And so that's one of our big tourist draws. We were trying to decide at the time what to name the diner before we opened it. And we decided that, well, it's on 66. We could name it the Route 66 Diner, which most people think is our name.
True.
But you cannot trademark Route 66 because it's public domain. So it's a 66 Diner, and we trademarked that. Although there are a lot of other 66 diners, I've come to find out.
Yes, even in Albuquerque, we had one for a while, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that was a bit of a problem with public relations, if I remember correctly.
It did indeed cause some consternation for us, undeserved, but they're gone now, and we're still here.
Very good. Well, and that was inevitable, that you would still be around. So let's talk a minute about what's happening right now. You are closed, not permanently, but temporarily until we get through this pandemic. And, I know it's a trying time. Tell us, how you're getting through it.
Well, we're getting through it by using every available loan and grant that we can get. And in 2020, we got a PPP loan. We got a economic injury loan. We got a grant from the city. We got a grant from the state. All of those things. And still, at the end of the year, at the end of 2020, we saw no path forward without indoor dining. We tried the outdoor dining for a bit. It was okay for us, partly because we put it behind the diner because so it didn't have the visibility that a lot of pieces have with their outdoor dining. But it worked for us. But really, the diner is an experience. You have to be inside the diner to experience it. And I wrote the governor a letter trying to explain that to her, that it doesn't work. Outside dining doesn't really work for the 66 diner. It's all part of the experience to come in there, and it's like going back to the 50s. The facility reflects that. The servers are in period dress. The music is 50s and 60s music. And again, the menu reflects the kind of food you would get at that time.
Well, and your service, tell us about them, because they are really wonderful, and they do a lot for the atmosphere. They totally, take up the gauntlet and make it what it is. Tell us about them.
Well, we spend a lot of effort and time training our servers, and actually, you can't just come to work at the 66 Diner as a server. You have to start as a soda jerk. You have to start on the soda fountain. And when and if an opening occurs on the wait staff, then you can possibly move up if we feel you're worthy.
Mm-hmm.
So
if the whole staff feels you're worthy, not just the owner or manager, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's definitely a team effort there.
Mm-hmm.
And so if somebody is not considered to be part of that team, they don't last a long time there. So we cut our losses and move on to somebody who wants to be.
Yeah. So tell me about your servers right now. Are they just on standby? They've been out of work for months now.
They've been primarily out of work. Initially, that was okay with them because they were getting that massive $600 bonus
on their government checks,
on their unemployment, and we did stay open for carryout, and then we were open for inside dining for a bit, and then we were open for outside dining for a bit, and we were open for both for a bit, and then we were back to takeout. And again, it doesn't make sense in the middle of winter to have outside dining, in my opinion, but that's what we have now, and we don't have it. We just chose to close and wait it out until we can have a reasonable amount of indoor dining with the expectation we won't get shut down again.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the scary thing. I mean, if I have to say anything about New Mexico's policy on this, it's just probably the worst policy in the entire nation. I mean, we haven't figured it out, and we're not even trying to figure it out. And excuse me, it's really not us. It's the government hasn't figured it out. And we're really hoping through the Restaurant Association that we'll be able to get you all some more grants, or at least some kind of money so that we can get reopened when we can reopen. We did see a couple of more counties open at 25% indoor dining this week, and we've got 2 more weeks to wait and see what we get next week. And it's a crazy situation to be in.
It's a crazy system because, it would be one thing if you achieve the gating criteria and you're allowed to reopen and know you're going to stay open.
Right.
But it's hard. I mean, I can't tell you the last time or at the end of the year, when we did shut down, how much food I gave away.
Yeah. And every time you have to open and close again, you would be, building up your inventory, which costs a lot of money. And if you have to close again, then you're giving away more food. So it's just a ridiculous situation that we have mentioned to the governor many times, but she's definitely not listening to us about the pandemic and the effects on the economy. So, really, I want to kind of bring this back and say, New Mexico restaurants are going to be open by the time, you may be listening to this, you're listening. And 66 Diner is a place that you want to go in Albuquerque. It is wonderful. If you're here for the balloon fiesta, if you're here for something else, you've got to make your way in and see this just really well-preserved diner, have that experience. And, you might get a little green chili in there too, who knows. But Tom, I really appreciate you being here with us. And is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
No, I just hope that we can reopen and that the tourism can come back. I like to say that in balloon fiesta time, which is a huge part of our business, we're firmly entrenched on the geriatric bus tour circuit.
Good.
We have between 1 and 4 bus loads of my age folks come in every day during the balloon fiesta, and they're happy to be fed by the 66 Diner folks.
Well, that's lucky you got on that tour bus. I guess you're not on the art tour.
Well, we've got a stop not that far from us.
Well, good. And art is the Albuquerque Rapid Transit. A bit of a sore spot for some folks that were on Central during the construction, but
yes, indeed.
Yes, yes, it was. But let's not get into that. So again, right on 66, you've got the directions. You've got the secret directions to get there because you listen to this podcast. I want to thank our sponsor, The Hand Solution, who provides high-quality hand sanitizer and disinfectant at a competitive price. Order your NMRA restaurant kit today at thehandsolution.com/NMRA. And thanks for tuning in to New Mexico Restaurants Now. You can watch this and other episodes on the New Mexico Restaurants Now YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to the audio podcast at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Thanks to The Hand Solution for sponsoring this episode.